How's it going, everyone? It is Monday, April 29th, 2024, and this is the video for today. So let's get right into it. And let's take a look at car before we get right into it. See if it's doing anything. Car might be a call out for today, so we're gonna keep an eye on the stock. But as always, we're gonna start with the pick from the last video, which was Goldman Sachs. And I had recommended taking a CDS on Goldman Sachs. And in the video, I specifically mentioned the 425, 435 CDS for $4. I ended up taking a slightly different CDS because I didn't want to have as much of a debit. So I took the 427.50, 432.50 CDS personally, and I took a nice 25% win on that this morning. But even if you were to take GS at the time of this video, and you can see the order filled over here. So I'm just going to go over here and let's say you took the 425, 435 CDS. Now that is going for somewhere around, let's call it $6. So that's actually would have been a nice 50% win on that stock right now. And if we look at the M5 chart, still looking pretty decent today. Market is quite dead. We're going to get to that in a minute, but Goldman Sachs looking pretty nice, and you probably would have got a pretty good fill this morning. So pretty good win on GS. Let's get into our market bias. So I'm going to put the D1 chart up over here. On a longer term fundamental basis, we are one. There's a lot of economic news, earnings, FOMC, a lot of news events coming out this week. So after all that news on the weekend, I can properly assess if my market fundamental bias is going to change. Right now, we are mildly bullish, and the main thing we're watching for is what's going to happen with the rate cuts, what's going to happen with regards to unemployment, which I think should be pretty good, how our ISM service is going to do, how's the economy going to do, right? That's kind of the main focus over here. What's the economy going to do, and what's the rate cuts going to look like? On a technical basis, I am also a 1 bullish right now. We got this excellent rally. Buyers stepped in before the 100 SMA, which I thought we would have a test, but the fact is if they purchased before the 100 SMA and they bought it up higher, that is a little bit more bullish than if they actually let the 100 SMA be tested. We had a quick double bottom over here. Now we're making a new high, and we are holding the gains. So this move up here is very strong. The move down was a little bit stronger than I would have liked, but from what I understand with bull markets, it is nothing out of the ordinary. I'm cautiously really bullish until we sort of see some more strength. Right now, this isn't a ton of strength, but there's also a lot of news pending. So again, I think this technical bias may change at the end of this week once we get a lot of the news coming through, and we also see what the price action of that news results in. Market short-term technical. I am, again, also mildly bullish. We've finished the pullback phase of the move, and now we are beginning the next cycle, the up cycle, joining the longer-term uptrend after a pullback. So this is a very ideal time to be in some longs, but the price action has not been as go, given some of the mixed earnings results, the weakness in Meta, and next day we had the strength in Amazon and Google. So I would have not preferred this big of a retest ideally, but it's still not the worst, right? We're still bullish, but if we had held these gains and then we moved up higher, that would have made me even more bullish. So to give an example, if we had this move up here and something like this where it's a little bit tighter, right? And then we compress for a little bit and then we start to move higher, that would be a lot more bullish because I know that the buyers didn't really let the bid get knocked down. They're able to preserve and defend all the gains here, and then we're going higher. That tells me that the buying is a lot more aggressive. So that is my shorter-term technical bias, sorry. Let's look at major events for this week. I talked about Amazon earnings tomorrow, FOMC earnings, not FOMC earnings, FOMC statement on Wednesday, Apple earnings coming out on, or on Thursday as well. And I'm just going to actually go to the market view tab and option stalker because that's going to have all the main details, because we also have ADP coming out on Wednesday. We have JOLTS coming out on Wednesday, manufacturing coming out on Wednesday. The main thing on Friday is going to be our unemployment rate and especially our average hourly earnings, because that's a big driver of inflation. I was reading a JPM report this morning that's saying that they expect inflation to slowly start to reel in because that wage pressure is no longer there. We also have ISM services coming out as well on Friday. So quite the slew of economic events. And you want to, I'm not saying don't do anything, right? I'm not saying like don't day trade or don't take overnight swings, but you just have to bake those events into your game plan, right? Don't take a trade and then be like, oh shit, unemployment reports on Friday and I'm too scared, but my trade is down. You don't want to be in that situation. Me personally, I'm keeping it pretty light in terms of the trades. We just have the on PCS. That should be okay unless the market completely, shits the bed. So my swing trading game plan is I'm kind of waiting for some of these events to filter through. And more specifically, I kind of want to get through Wednesday, where we get through Amazon, get through the FOMC, get through some of the economic events. And if they're more positive, then it gives me more of a cushion in terms of price action. If the later half events or the events of the back half of the week, Apple earnings and unemployment, don't end up being as strong or as bullish. So I want to have some of these events to filter through. If they're positive, then I get more of a cushion. M5 market bias. So let's see what the hell is going on today. I'm just going to make my 1OP a little bit bigger here. So my current market bias is a 0. It is a neutral. And why are we a neutral? So if we look what happened yesterday, first we had this gap and go. Compressed, made a move higher, and then we held all the gains, which was bullish. But these days are hard because the price action really dies, after the first 2 hours. We did get a pretty decent move over here, but it's very tenuous and hard to trust. A lot of tiny candles, mixed overlapping candles here. So more of a difficult day to trade. Now, going into today, we had this gap up where we tested, or we came pretty close to the 50 SMA on the SPY. So the 50 SMA is at 511.16. You can see the high of the day was at 510.75. So we came pretty close to that SMA, got knocked down, but preserved half the gap. And we can see we have some support forming right here. Market tried to rally up, formed a lower high, double top. Tested here. We made a slightly new low, not really, like we barely poked above it. So here the low at this point, 509.02. The low at this point, 509.01. So to me, pretty much the same. And I really view this as support right now intraday. Market found the support, and now we're launching off here with some decently steady price action. The sectors today were more on the bullish side. Our flight to safety assets were down. Generally, tech has been doing pretty well. Mega cap tech on the bit of the softer side, but Tesla had some very positive news, and that was really bringing that discretionary sector up. Semis have been doing quite well in the recent days. They've been sort of leading the market charge up. And there's been a good amount of breadth in the market move. There's a lot of sectors that are posted better gains than what the SPY has posted. That's kind of look at the sector strength. RSB is greater than SPY in terms of percentage gains. So that's kind of what I like to see in the breadth. So the components are fairly bullish. The price action tells me that we are going to be range bound. And I also know we're going to be range bound because we have a lot of events coming up next week. That helps contextualize what's going to happen today. Institutions and traders are not really going to be very active because they want to see what's going to happen in that week. So it's going to be a range bound day. And that tells me that I want to get great entries. I want to be in very strong stocks. I want to set passive targets, and I can probably favor both sides. So if we are more neutral, let's look at some of the trades we took, and I got some alerts over here. So I first got it on DLTR, and this is a short that I'm probably going to take right now. So I already vetted DLTR on the daily chart. Super weak daily chart, right? Lots of room to the next level. Maybe a little bit of support here, but we got some excellent price action, excellent relative weakness, not bouncing with the market at all. So DLTR is looking very, very weak. And this may be my pick of the day right now. You can see that we are testing this level, and here's what happened intraday. So this tiny gap, we tested for support, huge drop down on heavy volume. Now we're compressing over here, and this could set up very nicely for a midday compression break. Found some support at the low of the day. This was a little bit of poke through, but I really see the support coming around here at maybe 117.60. So once this candle it gets pretty close to the close over here, I'm going to take my trade and pretty much ride this move until the momentum stalls. So that's what I like on DLTR. Yeah, so DLTR is going to be my short of the day. Let's take a look at CAR. CAR is kind of the opposite. So let's take a look at this D1 again here. Super heavy action. Don't know what the hell's going on in CAR, but institutions are trading it. Looks like they're adjusting their price targets. Pretty high. What I like about this is we had this long compression. We're breaking through here, and honestly, this stock looks like it may be changing its nature. And here's what I'm going to talk about with that in just a second. But right now, I'm going to take DLTR, I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to get back right into this trade. Okay, I'm back. I am currently short DLTR. I know the video may probably not come out, or may not manifest by the time the video comes out. That's the tough part with day trading. You could maybe take a PDS on this if you feel very confident in that. If we didn't have any sort of crazy market events, then I would certainly take a PDS on this trade. But I'm not going to recommend that for my video. I'm going to stick to a day trade for this setup. I think I can get maybe 50, 75 cents on a stock like this. Okay. So let's take a look at CAR, and I want to talk about something very specifically here. The nature of the stock could be changing because of earnings. And the comparison I want to make here is to something like MSTR or maybe even SMCI, because you saw that the nature of the stock had changed dramatically. So in November and December, SMCI was a chip stock, but very, very choppy, right? Earnings, it was just in this super long compression, and then we broke out of this compression on some really heavy volume, and we started to fill in this gap, so it was looking pretty good here, right? We fill in this gap, we reject, and then this was the candle that really changed everything. Like, insane volume on this candle. Look at this. This is already heavy volume here, right? The average volume was running about, let's call it 4 or 5 million. 23 million, right? We have an R volume of like 5 on this day. We have earnings coming up, and the stock goes absolutely parabolic, and you can ride it until you get this bearish engulf over here. And even then, right, you still had another opportunity to get out over here on the pullback. The nature of the stock changed completely. SMCI has now become a very bullish chart. Obviously, it's been kind of digesting the gains. The valuations got a little bit stretched. Huge ATR in this stock. I mean, look, it went from high of 12.29, hit a low of 671. It almost went down $600. Just insane stuff. But I point that out because it was completely ignorant of what the market did. And CAR, I think it could be setting up where we get this sort of parabolic move. So CAR, we can definitely day trade. And the key here, I think, is going to be the volume on this. We didn't have insane volume on that, but we did have pretty good volume. So you could do two things. One, you could day trade CAR on the way up. Or second, you could have a kind of a parabolic move. So I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here, and I'm going to see if CAR will end up being a parabolic move. One more comparison I'm going to make to this is also MSTR, right? And again, MSTR had its ups and downs, right? It went out, went up, down over here, and then we got this we got some really crazy volume coming up over here. This breakout, not insane volume, but really crazy volume here. and then the crazy volume continued. And that's kind of what I need to see. I think I need to see this really crazy volume on this, but we didn't get it initially. We kind of moved into it. We also know that crypto and, you know, semis and things like that, they're going to have a lot more volatility, right? They're going to have these kind of really big moves. I'm not sure if we're going to get that in something like CAR, which if we look at a stock like this, it is provision of buildings and cold chain solutions. So, you know, probably not going to change the needle over here. But this is, yeah, it's looking pretty decent. We don't want it to go back in the range here. So I already gave DLTR as a pick. I'm going to see if I can find any other very nice pick. And if I can't, then that's going to be the day trading short of the day. All right, guys, back. I am not seeing a ton of stuff I love, but I will call out a few D1s that you guys can keep an eye on for later this week. First one is AEO. So AEO has been a little bit more in a range here, but you can see that we found support at the 200 SMA, as well as this horizontal support right around $22. If I were to draw that right here. So we hit some very nice horizontal support there. We also broke through this little bit of horizontal support at this level here, and we have some room until the next level, which is somewhere around here. So I think AEO may be a pretty nice setup for probably a CDS. I think you do a CDS on this. I do like that. And the other one that could set up quite well is App. So these are two ones I think to keep on your list. App, nice, strong move over here. Pretty tight price action, pretty orderly, and held up pretty well in the market decline. Not been as strong recently. You can see the price action has mirrored SPY. We want to have a little bit more defiant price action, but if it can get above this high from the prior day, there's a little bit of resistance at this level. So if it can get above this high, then I think we have a very clear shot to this next level at 78.27. And again, I think that could set up nicely for a CDS if that opportunity presents itself. So those are two picks to watch out for. But in any case, DLTR short is going to be my pick of the day. That's going to be my day trade. And so far that's producing pretty well. And how I would play this is a pretty range-bound day. I expect DLTR to ignore the market. It has been ignoring the market the whole day. We have the price action, we have the breakout, we have the volume, we have the D1 chart in our favor. As soon as this trend starts to wane, I am out of this stock because we don't have a market tailwind to work with, and I don't really want to be holding the stock overnight. So for those reasons, I'm going to take probably scale out of that, or not scale out of that trade, but take profits when this move starts to stall. Not planning to add to it, not planning to scale out, just planning to ride the trend on a great entry point. So, and looks like it's doing pretty well. When you have these breakouts, I expect the move to produce pretty quickly, and that is clearly what's happening. Again, you can see the market is really kind of compressing, and very clear tell, right? Had to digest the gains here. As soon as the market started to pause for a second, DLTR collapsed, right? This was just market buying, kind of some support here, then market buying. If we had a stronger move earlier in the day, DLTR would have popped through that, no problem, smashing that support like a piñata on a quinceañera. So thanks for watching, everyone. We will take a look at the DLTR day trade tomorrow, and we'll take a look at some other plays we can take. I think I foresee some earnings time spreads this week, given all of the earnings and some of the major news coming up. That's it, everyone. Catch you all tomorrow.